Welcome to the Ultimate Gamer Podcast, a show that features conversations with the trailblazers, thought leaders, decision makers, and investors who are defining the gaming and esports space. On the Ultimate Gamer Podcast, we take a journey into this dynamic industry and start to decode and reveal who and what's making news. It's about connecting, and it's about sharing the stories and vision of the people who make gaming and esports a global phenomenon. And now, please welcome your host, student of the game and connector to the esports community, Tommy Knapp.
What's up, everyone? I'm Tommy Knapp, and this is an all-new episode of the Level Up Podcast presented by The Ultimate Gamer. On today's show, I have a conversation with Matt Hillman, founding partner of Cut and Sew, a collaborative team of multi-hyphenates. I found that on our website. Pushing the boundaries of the modern marketing agency, and Zoned Gaming, a full-service creative agency and venture studio built at the intersection of gaming and culture. We both threw on our headsets and took off. We talked about nicknames in the Philly scene. We got into the inspiration behind the company names Cut and Sew and Zoned. We went further into the pivot from IRL events to the digital event format. And then Matt talked about the boom in charity events they have supported and helped produce since the CV-19 pandemic. We then changed direction and talked about new age entertainment and the lighthearted podcast that he co-hosts with one of his best friends and NBA star, Josh Hart. We talked about the importance of chemistry on the pod, as well as in sports, and about always improving. Finally, we discussed career opportunities in gaming and on content platforms such as Twitch. Here's my conversation now with Matt Hillman. So, Matt, I'm going to start right in. What's up? Got to talk about Matty Ice. I want to know, where's the nickname come from, dude? I saw it, I think it was on your Instagram. It's in there, in the address, and I think on your LinkedIn as well. So there's got to be something behind Matty Ice.
Dude, it's a funny question. There's no there's no incredible answer. I played basketball in high school, and I was pretty good. Not obviously, not playing anymore. So how good could I have been? But I thought I was good. And I don't, just through that, I kind of got the nickname. I don't know if it was because if I was good in the clutch, or but people just started calling me it, and then I guess it just kind of stuck, and I made it my username on a couple of social platforms, and I just never changed it from there. So it's kind of, it's been almost 10 years in the making now. That's,
it's, to me, traditional sports is very, very common for that, right? Like when I was growing up, same thing. You might have multiple nicknames.
Right.
I'm wondering, and I don't know yet. You create a screen name in gaming, but is your screen name kind of become that Matty Ice? You know what I'm saying? Like this.
Yeah,
is it organic, or is it something you actually make up? Because you didn't make up Matty Ice. Somebody else did.
I didn't make it up at all. And everyone who knows me just calls me Matt. But there's sometimes if there's people that I connect with on social media before I meet them in real life, and I see them, they'll call me Matty or Matty Ice. I'm like, yeah, you can just call me Matt. But I don't blame them for doing that. But it's funny, kind of what's your point about traditional sports? With gaming now, if you look at the CDL, they're pretty much only referred to by their nicknames.
Right. Yeah, a lot of times people don't even know their real names.
Right.
Yeah. I saw you had was it a cat in the background?
Dog.
Oh, it's a dog?
Yeah. I put him in the other room now. He's he's 105 pounds. He's gonna jump all over me.
Oh, dude, he's big. All right.
Yeah.
So what kind? Yeah. I see that. I like your studio too. Nice studio there.
I can't take any credit for this. So I've been quarantined in Philadelphia for the past 2 months with my parents. So this is their room. It's the only quiet place I could get.
So you're not in LA right now. You're in Philly.
Yeah. Right when it started to get bad, I was like, let me get out of here and be with my family. And I didn't really know how long it was going to last, but I feel like I blinked my eye and it's been 3 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been in Philly for a little while. So.
Well, there's a lot happening in Philly. I give a lot of credit a lot of times when I'm on these podcasts and when I talk to people, I give a lot of credit to LA and Dallas, Houston, Atlanta. Yeah. And sometimes I forget to mention Philly, but Philly's got a lot going on in the space right now.
Yeah, Philly's on the come up for sure, especially like you said in the gaming space. I know that they built a pretty big esports arena here as well. Yeah, Philly in general is cool. It's kind of obviously a little brother to New York, but it's definitely making its own name for itself.
Yeah. So take me on a journey, take me on that journey. Let's go back and talk to me a little bit about as far as like your gaming experience. Did you grow up a gamer? And then, how you got into the space.
Yeah, so I grew up I wouldn't say like a huge gamer, but pretty casual. Played with my friends all the time. Was always like a big part of my friendships and my childhood. I mean, every sort of console as it came out, I would try and get, and mostly sports games as I was growing up. It was a way for me to kind of stay up to date with like the rosters and kind of hone my sports knowledge. So that was kind of how that was kind of like the gaming experience that I had early on, and then I kind of took like a little bit of a hiatus from it, at least from playing, just because I got like kind of busy, and this was prior to like entering the space professionally. I was just like I just at the time for it, and this was kind of prior to like obviously like 2017 is when like everything really started to get crazy. So like I just wasn't gaming as much, and then the way that I got into it was, so my company Cut and Sew, we work with like we're marketing agency, but we work pretty closely with like different talent. And two of the guys we work with, Josh Hart and then Myers Leonard, are both like diehard gamers, and just from doing work with them and seeing their passion for the space, it kind of forced us to just throw ourselves in and learn everything that we can and help them. So we pretty much worked with them and built their brands in the gaming space, from like launching their Twitch channels to brand deals to, I mean, not just launching, but like designing like the whole sort of like strategy around that. Like I said, brand deals, helping them get placement in like pro-ams and celebrity tournaments and all that, and really just kind of, helping them grow their brand. And from that, just like sort of reignited all of our passion for it, and then started working with some like non-endemic brands who were looking to get into gaming, and really have just kind of made an interesting lane for ourselves in this like gaming, sports, gaming, music, gaming kind of entertainment crossover.
Yeah, but you didn't go to school for that. You didn't go to college for that at all, right?
No, yeah, I was a global studies major with a business and Spanish minor, so
Okay.
not at all really.
Yeah, so then you have the relationship with these guys, and you look. There's a number of facets to what you just talked about. So first of all, getting them on Twitch and creating, they already have a personality, right, to a certain degree, because people know them through playing basketball. So they have that already. So that's great. But then you've got to get them on these platforms, and then they're playing the game. How did you determine? They obviously knew what games they like to play, so you got them on, and they started streaming at first on Twitch.
Yeah, so they were gamers like before, obviously before they started streaming, like they were diehard. They were playing like multiple hours a day. And then it was once we sort of like made that suggestion, I mean, I can't take credit. Like they are dedicated. Like they log those hours. They put the time in. They reach out. Like they're really really good about it. And we're pretty like selective with who we work with on that capacity, because as you know, like if you're not consistent, if you don't take it seriously, it's just you're not going to grow a brand on Twitch. It's just not that easy. Especially a lot of people think they have a million followers on Instagram, so it's going to translate to a Twitch stream, and it's really hard to migrate that audience over there. So they're super dedicated, and we help kind of steer the ship, but they do the heavy lifting for sure.
Having said that, has there been, because you read about it anyway, there's a lot of athletes that are like, oh man, I don't have anything to do right now for 2, 3, 4 months.
Yeah.
I need to reach out to my fan base. I need to create a Twitch station. I need to be out there. Have you had a bunch of people reach out to you and then like kind of go through that vetting process of, listen, we'll talk to you guys and we may work with you guys, but this is a grind. You have to be consistent. You got to make it work.
Yeah.
And it's on you guys.
Yeah, we're sort of building out like a scalable way to do that and to work with more people. I don't think they'll all be like super integrated relationships, but we're forming some partnerships with like equipment companies so that we can get them like equipment on the fly. Have a couple tech support people on staff that we can kind of either fly out or they can help out remotely. Have some designers that can mock up their Twitch user interface pretty quickly. So we have all the pieces in place to like knock a lot of these out, but like you said, we have to be protective of our time. And if someone's just going to stream once every 3 weeks, like we can't be rolling our sleeves up and putting together like crazy strategies.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about how you created Cut and Sew, and then when you created the division, if you will, and tell me if I'm wrong there, of Zone, so that we kind of understand that a little bit better.
Yeah. So Cut and Sew created 2.5 years ago with two partners, Sean and Devin. Three of us just had kind of linked up and all had very similar backgrounds, kind of passions, experiences, and also were in similar places in our life, and that we all kind of had jobs, but we were also getting reached out to a bunch for like consulting on the side. I had some talent that I was working with. So we all like knew that, we didn't necessarily want to be where we were for the long run. And so the three of us just kind of like, how do we take everything that you have going on, you have going on, and just come together and sort of, essentially build an agency so we can work on all of these projects and not have to, turn down work because of like bandwidth. And so we launched the business. Luckily we were pretty calculated about it. We had, a client from like the first day that we launched. So we were kind of like in the green from day one. And then just through like hustling and doing good work and, telling that story properly, we just started to get like bigger and bigger work and started to do, great work. And the clients just kept coming back, both new and returning. And, fast forward to now, we're really excited about where we're at. Like I said, it's been 2.5 years. We do everything from social and digital to influencers to content to events to strategy, really anything on the marketing side we're pretty comfortable with. And we work with like Venmo, the National Basketball Players Association, Ford, Turtle Beach, Red Bull, probably a couple others that I'm forgetting. We built like a nice business. And then on the gaming side, to your earlier question, like we're all passionate about it. And two, we had kind of been thrown into it. And all of a sudden, like looked at each other and we're like, wow. And like actually more of our business now is gaming than not gaming. Like we're doing a ton of work in the gaming space. So it's like knowing what we know about the space, knowing that it's protective and authentic and, it's not in our best interest to be like an industry agnostic agency that does gaming. Like we have to really like double down on the space, show our commitment to it and build a brand dedicated to it. So that's kind of where Zone came in, and we launched that a month ago, which is our, like you said, our gaming subsidiary, and that houses all of our gaming business. It houses our gaming investments. It's where we're going to work with talent who want to get into gaming. It's where we're going to be building like businesses from the ground up through that. So it's a little bit of everything. But yeah, that was really the reason for us wanting to do it. And it just felt like the right time. We'd been planning it for a while, but when COVID hit, we were like, we need to speed this up.
So right now it's been accelerated over the last 3 months, really boosted.
Big time. We didn't even have, like, prior to this, we didn't count live or virtual events as like a capability of ours. And then once COVID hit, we just saw really early on that was happening. And we've thrown like 8 to 10 of them over the past 2 months through, like, we have partnerships with like amazing production companies with like all of the technical equipment that you could possibly need. So like from our creative strategy, project management to like their technical execution, we can produce anything. We worked on Fight to Fund. They worked on Bud Light Seltzer. They worked on 2K League Draft. We did a 100 artists 3-day music festival that raised like 135K, all produced in house. So we've adapted a lot.
Yeah, man. I want to go back to the origin of maybe Cut and Sew as far as the name, and Zoned as far as the name, because I always like to know how you guys come up with the names. But you just jumped right into something like you said 8 to 10 events. Just talk about like what is it? Zoned? You said not Zoned. No. The one
Zoned.
with FaZe. The one they did with FaZe.
Fight to Fund.
Fight to Fund, yeah. So explain the process that goes into that, because you mention it, but it's challenging, right? It's not your typical event. It's a live event, which is challenging as well. It's a physical brick and mortar event where you're building stages and everything. Now everything's gone online. So this is something you guys just pivoted into. How was that pivot? And talk us through it by showing us an example like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think for that, definitely want to mention like that was like the first COVID, charity tournament. And of course was our first experience in like the live event space. So it wasn't like we, decided to do this and all of a sudden like knew how to produce it. It was like sort of a build up. So with that one, we were like, with FaZe coming up with the idea, we were like, we have to be first to market. So the production team came in, which is an awesome team based out of Vegas, worked really closely hand in hand with them to ideate on, what does the format look like? How many people? Obviously it was going to be Warzone, but what's the format? Was it trios? Is it a kill race? Is it like a bracket? Like whatever it ends up being. So that was, really interesting. And I think as quarantine started to play out, that sort of Warzone trios, time limit format started to become more prevalent, but this was really kind of like the first one that did it. we obviously, had a massive tracker of like all the talent that we needed to get, which, was over the course of the month was hundreds, which was a beast in itself. Working with the creative team to make sure that the assets every week, not just on stream, but on social to promote the stream are dialed in, especially, the ones that are talent focused, if you have talent dropping out and stuff like that last minute. And then of course, production day itself is always interesting, because on one hand you have streamers who do this for a living, who understand, technically, and then on the other hand you have people who've never streamed a day in their life but have a big name and are probably good at the game too. So just dealing with all of the different types of talent and skill levels all at the same time, all of those moving parts was really interesting.
Yeah, well, and it sounds like it was a month-long event. And you guys took a lot of learnings from that. How did you apply that to the Hammer Classic? Because now that is probably your own, right? You guys created that from scratch.
Yeah, Hammer Classic. We like Myers came up with the idea, and we put that together completely for him. And so it was we with Fight to Fund, we were like heavily involved, but we weren't like the event producers. And then by the time Hammer Classic came around, like you said, we were kind of steering that whole ship. We knew what to look for in a production and a production team. We knew, what these things cost. We knew the best way to deal with talent who don't have streaming experience. We had formed equipment partnerships so that we can get guys, the equipment that they needed if they didn't have it. We had, heard how, some of the brand conversations had gone early on. So then, we were then able to go out and sort of bring brands in, from a charitable perspective. We became even more familiar with Discord, even more than we already were, because all these tournaments use Discord to communicate, which was really interesting. The Hammer Classic was another like month-long thing. And was just, it was incredible. Myers came to us and said he wanted to feed 1 million people, which was $175,000 worth, and he did it. So
crushed it, right?
It was awesome. Yeah.
What did you guys end up raising? Much more than that, right? It was over $200,000.
It was like I think it was like 185 or something like that. Yeah.
So you hit your goal. Yeah. That's fantastic. I love that you said that about Discord, man, because I talk to people about different ways of communicating these days. And, you had cell phone, you've got your text, you've got email, you have all these ways to communicate. And now, like, Discord is something I'm still learning. And a lot of the college students and a lot of gamers use Discord. So for you guys, like, learning that, and then also, like you said, not just learning it yourselves, but sharing that with the community so that they're communicating through that Discord, that's I don't know, that's challenging, right? To educate everybody.
No, it's super hard if you never use it, and this was us for a really long time. If you never use it, to be asked to use it, if you hear it and you think it's like something that only like gaming does, and it's just kind of like, it could be confusing. But once these guys get on it and they see the features that it has and they see all the other people that are on it, they become more into it. And like I said, for the guys like, Josh and Myers and, anyone who was like a regular in like every single charity tournament that was happening, they just had to use it like week over week, and then we actually use it for all of our like internal team communications now. We pretty much like ditch Slack. We still use Slack a little bit, but we use Discord like really heavily for like our group chats, like text chats, voice chats. Like it's interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. So talk to me a little bit about the origin of the two names, Cut and Sew and Zoned. And then I just want to talk a little bit more about some of the other things that you do in Zoned, because you guys are, like you said, whether it's go-to-market strategy, business development, investing, there's a lot of stuff you guys are doing right now in the space.
Yeah. The name Cut and Sew came from us just kind of having experience at like larger companies, larger agencies, and seeing how like they dealt with clients and feeling that like the services that they provided were pretty templated. Right. Felt like you would get the same, account director, graphic designer, whatever, and just kind of shuffle them from like client to client. Which
and those are some of the bigger agencies that you guys were at, right, Matt?
Yeah. Which I don't think makes for like the best people on the job, either from like a skill or like a passion standpoint. So we decided we kind of wanted to do it differently. And the reason we call ourselves Cut and Sew is because like every like scope or every proposal, every piece of work, like everything we do for every client is like obviously fully custom made for them. We're even sometimes like bringing in, incredible like independent contractors who have like subject matter expertise to work on something. We're building like perfect teams around it if we need to. So yeah, essentially we're like cutting and sewing what needs to be done. We're building it from the ground up as opposed to just kind of, using, repurposing like templated kind of documents.
Okay.
And then zoned, just, obviously like with gaming, you can kind of like be in the zone and like that's, a feeling. And just also just kind of thought it had a nice little ring to it. So
yeah,
that's all I got for you.
Yeah, no, that's good. But the spelling of it, and I want to kind of talk about Players Network too, because you've been working with those guys a little bit from what I was able to discern. And in Players Network, they take out all the vowels in network, and in zoned, you guys I think are a small Z, and then is it a 0 or is it a capital O and then NED? It's just crazy now the way things are spelled because it has nothing to do with how proper spelling. Like everything now is really about branding, even the word.
Right. Yeah, we're debating dropping it. Right now it is lowercase z 0 NED. We're debating dropping that and just going to like a more traditional spelling. We've gotten like some mixed feedback. The original thought behind it was just that it has like a more kind of techy kind of edgy feel to it, like coding. Like it just kind of, you look at it and it feels native to gaming. It looks kind of native to gaming, but yeah, we're trying to decide if we want to stick with it or not. We've in the past gone towards like a more clean aesthetic, and so Devin, who's our partner and does all the creative, is making a case, and whatever he says on that front, I'm like cool, you got it.
Right.
And then Players Network, similar. They dropped all the vowels. I think it's just like it's an interesting kind of just edgier, younger, millennial, Gen Z, way of just kind of flipping traditional, wording on its head and taking them out
I see it a lot.
You see it, you're like, it works,
Yeah, I see it a lot. So what are you guys doing with Players Network right now in Stratton? I mean, I know they're doing some really cool stuff, and I think a lot of what you guys are doing is wanting to control the narrative, right?
Yes. So they're doing some awesome stuff. They are creating sort of a new age, media and entertainment network. They signed, long-term partnerships with 15 to 16 top tier talent, both in sports, music, gaming. So guys like Josh Hart and Myers Leonard, De'Aaron Fox, Alvin Kamara, Jarvis Landry, Party Next Door, Murda Beats, like really, really awesome guys from all walks of life. And they are coming together under this one sort of umbrella, creating content. They're doing about 10 to 12 hours of live programming per week right now, and the goal is to continue stepping that up and start expanding the content formats. Right now, it's primarily gameplay. They've COD, Fortnite, 2K, Madden. Just creating diverse content with these guys, and then hopefully once the world returns back to normal, events can be a part of it and merchandise, and it can really grow to be a 360 media company.
And so when you say new age entertainment, is there a definition of that now? Is that mostly just like over the top, where it's a lot of online programming, or is it, I haven't really heard that term new age.
I think it's new age in like the way that it's distributed. So it's not, it's not linear. It's not, it's not even a mobile app right now. It's really where the eyeballs are and where people are already spending their time. And that's on top of these social media platforms. And so they're really sort of like a multi-channel, distributed network.
Got it. And you talked earlier about some of the pivoting you guys had to do from physical events to online events. What have you guys got coming up right now? Because I know, like you said, you're actually busier probably today than you were even 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's tough because we're working on like 2 or 3 that we're really pumped about, but unfortunately they haven't been announced yet, so I'm not able to say. But essentially, one of them is with one of the major sports leagues. They wanted to just produce a piece of content highlighting some of their players. A live piece of content highlighting some of their players, and then the other one is with one of the bigger headphone brands. We're creating a live stream with them for some of their talent. So, and then a couple other like charity tournaments that a couple brands have reached out to us for, things it's funny, the lead time with physical events is like, you need generally you need a pretty long time to plan that out. Whereas, something can come together in less than a week.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we could get off this podcast. You'd be talking to somebody, like somebody will call you, and then let's do something next weekend.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Talk to me a little bit about Lighthearted and the podcast, because we're on a podcast now, and really the focus of the Level Up podcast is to talk very much about what's going on in esports and gaming on the business side, and talk to a lot of the business leaders, athletes, celebrities, but really focused on that. What are you guys focused on with Lighthearted? And it seems to me anyway, from what I've seen and heard, that you guys are having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it's been a blast. Josh has an awesome personality, is one of the more well-known, like, younger guys in the league, and just kind of saw an opening. Just saw that there was like a shortage of sort of NBA podcasts. There was a few really good ones, don't get me wrong, like JJ has a great one, CJ McCollum has a great one, Danny Green has a great one, but there just wasn't as many as you'd think. So we were like, how do we kind of come in and especially this younger generation of guys who were like 3 or 4 years into the league and under, felt that Josh had an opportunity to really kind of carve out a lane for himself in the podcasting world, and then just kind of entrepreneurially. So he has a lot of stuff going on, from investments to large scale partnerships to stuff like that. And we just wanted to use the podcast as a way for both of us just to kind of share that experience. We grew up together, so we've been best friends forever. And we just used it to, we'll bring on CEOs of companies we invest in. We'll bring on, friends that both of us have, and really just kind of publicize some of these conversations that are happening, in the locker room, in the boardroom, and stuff like that, and just kind of give people access and let them in. And it's been fun. We built a great community. Took a little bit of a hiatus at the end of last year, just because things were heating up with the season. And then with COVID, obviously, it's just been nuts. But our goal is to bring it back really soon.
Okay, so you had the physical studio out in LA, and you guys haven't done it since your last episode. You haven't done that episode virtually.
So we together, we just recorded out of our house when he was living in LA, and then when he moved to New Orleans, we had a remote solution. So we had some great producers, so we could do it remotely. Or I went down there quite a bit as well.
Yeah. So how did you define and create the topics and the format that you guys wanted, and then the chemistry? Like, you'd never done a podcast, I'm assuming, before that.
First one, yeah.
Yeah. So sitting on a couch, hanging out, and kind of making it conversational. How do you guys throw it back and forth? Did it take time? How do you feel about it today compared to when you first started? Because typically it's just like like a team, right? A team starts in preseason. They're kind of they're trying to work out the mechanics of everything, and then as the season moves on, and that's why it's so important in traditional sports. It's so important to just make the playoffs in this country, right? A lot of other countries in soccer, they don't have playoffs, but you just make the playoffs, because you could be, and it's true, the Super Bowl, like, there's teams that are 9-7 playing against teams that are 15-1, but they're hitting their stride at the right time, and the chemistry's right. So talk about your chemistry and how you guys have worked through the podcast, because I think that's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the chemistry has kind of always been there, and it made it really easy, because these are conversations that we've just grown up having and have been having for a really long time. So when we turned the cameras on, obviously there was a little bit of an adjustment, but it didn't feel too different. It wasn't too much of a shock, which I think was a good sign. It felt very natural to both of us. If you listen to our first episode and then our last, like, obviously we got way better, and I think we'll continue to improve. But yeah, it was fun. It felt very natural. I think we both love podcasting as an avenue, because you can just be yourself. You can have conversations. You're not acting. You're just talking. And luckily we never really had to like go crazy with the post-production stuff, but there's a comfort level to it, because you can kind of edit anything out, and you can really craft you can really craft a great episode. So yeah, we just looked at it as like a low pressure way to kind of just have some of these conversations, and had a lot of fun and got better every episode.
Yeah. And how do you then, so after you've done it now, you said you don't do a lot of editing and post-production, but it's still important to get it out to all the right channels and everything. And I read that you guys, I think you leaped into the top 25 podcasts. How does that happen? Is that something that you take charge of, or do you have a team that actually works the back end of it and, works all the algorithms and everything to get because obviously some of it's organic, but some of it's programmed as well.
Yeah, we have a team that does all of our production, so they'll engineer, mix and master all of our audio after every episode and cut out everything that needs to get, or anything that needs to get cut out. And then another And then we have two producers. One guy does the audio, and then his partner Jordan does everything sort of related to like the distribution. So got us set up on the hosting platform, writes all the descriptions, listens to every episode and does the timestamps, and then blasts it out just through like one touch to all of the platforms. We didn't put any money into like marketing or algorithm. I think we just, had a couple episodes that we got lucky and caught fire, just based on like things that were said during the episode. Yeah. Like for example, the Lonzo Ball one, was a really big episode, because a lot of stuff he says is big, but there were just like some clips that happened to go viral. So yeah. And I think, like I said, it's just kind of a testament to the demand for player centric content. You hear the analysts talk all the time, but you don't hear the players talk as often. So, yeah.
But most of it's focused on NBA then.
We try our best to diversify because NBA is just kind of what we know. But no, we had Delane Parnell on, who's the CEO of Play Versus. Yep. So we had FaZe Apex. We had who else do we have on? Cassie Athena, who's a really awesome photographer. We had Romelu Lukaku, who's a world-class soccer player for Inter Milan. Yeah. We had the co-founders of PSD Underwear, which is a huge brand. We had Asia Wilson from the WNBA. We had Todd Gurley. So yeah, we try to mix it up. But basketball is, it's easy. If we needed to put an episode out, we didn't have anyone. We're like, all right, who can we call from the league? So.
Yeah, and what about is part of the podcast? And again, I might be wrong, but is there a segment of it or a part of it towards the end that you guys call Wine and 10?
So we drink wine on almost every episode for sure. Okay. But there's a segment at the end called the Lighthearted 10. Which might be what you're thinking of. And it's essentially we just ask like every guest like the same 10 questions at the end of each episode, and just hearing their answers is really funny, and it's like rapid fire.
Yeah. Give me one.
Yeah. Who would play you in the Tommy Knapp movie?
Oh shit. I have no idea, dude.
Yeah,
I have no idea. That's pretty cool though. So you have like 9 of those, 10 of those, and it's just a boom, 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 boom. Yeah, maybe Matt Damon. I don't know.
I can see that.
Maybe Matt Damon. So awesome. I mean, the podcast sounds. I'm going to go back and listen to the Lonzo Ball one just because of what you said. Yeah, it sounds really good. And then I know there was something else I wanted to talk about as far as just athlete, and it's Athlete Times Media or Athlete X Media. Is that just an event? It looked like you guys were doing something, or you were doing something around the Super Bowl, event related and maybe industry related.
So that's an event that Brand Forward puts on. They're an awesome group based out of San Francisco. I know the founders really well, and I've been fortunate to speak on a couple of the events that they've done. And they did something at Super Bowl. They've done one in LA, did one up in the Bay, and they put on like just a really awesome day of kind of panels, curated with awesome speakers. So I was going to participate in that.
Okay, and then I know you did something just recently on what's the CBC. You're talking to students, and I don't know exactly what that is.
Yesterday.
LinkedIn. Yeah. So tell me a little
fun.
bit about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just try and do as many, and I was super happy when you reached out. I try and do as many of these as I can, and one, just to continue to kind of hone my skills, but also any chance to tell the story of what we're doing. Who knows who might be listening to this and reach out because of it. So any opportunity I love to do, and that one was a team over at LinkedIn, essentially just internally pretty much saw like the ridiculously challenging job market that a lot of these kids were entering in after college. So they're just setting up conversations between new graduates and people in the workforce to connect and provide advice and just kind of talk about their journey. Because if you just graduated last month and you're looking for a job, it can be pretty discouraging, I imagine.
Yeah, it can be pretty intimidating. But having said that, when you look at this space, when you look at esports and gaming, and this industry is massive, right? And I always tell everybody, you don't have to be a professional gamer, just like the NBA. You don't have to be a professional basketball player to be involved in the NBA. There's, in fact, 99% of the jobs are something else, whether you're a VP or you're in marketing, you're in sales, there's so many other things. So what do you think right now really is a great place to look at as far as career opportunity goes in esports and gaming?
The platform side is just huge right now. Obviously, everyone's sort of reaping the benefit of what's happening, but them especially. I mean, the hours logged and the hours viewed and consumed on these platforms, the past 2 months have just been insane. So if I had to say, one side of the industry, I would say, go look at some of the platforms for sure. Probably mainly Twitch. And as they continue to capitalize on this moment and expand outside of just gaming and try and bring in new content like sports and music, it seems like an interesting time to be there.
Yeah. So on the content side, you guys have anything planned in the upcoming 3-6 months?
As far as
you talked about a couple things earlier, but I just was looking specifically on the content side, whether it's, the athletes that you're working with. There's just so much opportunity right now. And some of the stuff I like to follow. So, follow you guys. There's certain organizations I like to follow, like Torque, because they're doing a lot of great stuff in the space.
Yeah.
So just things that right now you say you're super excited about and looking forward to over the next 3 to 6 months.
Like I said, there's definitely some client stuff that I'm really excited about, like 2 live streams and a couple and 2 tournaments that are going to be really big when they come out. So definitely check out those. And then we in the beginning of COVID, we did an industry digital conference with just 4 or 5 different panels.
Right.
One was on building a powerful brand in gaming, and the other was authentic partnerships, and then one featured Josh and Myers just talking about their experience crossing over. And then I forget what the other one was, but anyway, we did that, and that was amazing. We're going to bring that back. So we're going to do another digital event where we just bring on awesome people in the industry and have them talk about their experience for sure. So that's going to be really cool. And then we are hopefully going to be doing something that relates to everything that's kind of been going on recently in the world, and providing relief and funds to the charities that are supporting Black Lives Matter. So still in the works, but yeah, that's something that we're interested in as well.
Awesome. Are you playing any hoops?
I was pre-COVID. I'm so washed up now, but I love it. It's still just a great way for me to kind of unplug and have some fun. But I've been playing a lot more video games. I've kind of replaced hoops with video games while I'm staying inside.
Right. And are you kind of like those guys? Those guys don't really play too much NBA 2K, do they? Josh and Myers.
Yeah, they really don't like it. They figured they get enough basketball. It's in the NBA. It's you kind of love it or you hate it. You have guys like Quinn and KD who love 2K. They play it all the time. Damian Lillard I think plays it a lot too. Or I think you have guys who just will not touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Right.
So it's funny.
Yeah, man, it's crazy because when you again, sometimes you see with Madden, with NBA 2K, and they come out with the rankings and it's great to see how the guys react to that, right?
Yeah.
If they have a certain rating and what their feelings are about that.
Totally.
Well, man, is there anything we didn't talk about that you kind of wanted to touch about?
No, I don't think so. This was awesome. I really enjoyed talking about Zoned, and just that's kind of where where a lot of our focus is right now, and we're just really excited to build that, and looking to work with anybody passionate about kind of merging the worlds of gaming with culture and music and sports and entertainment. So yeah, just really excited to be building that, and I'm sure we'll cross paths at some point on it.
Yeah, for sure. There's actually one more question. I've asked it probably too many times, but because you just mentioned it, when you talk about music, entertainment, and gaming, and you see what's happened with Marshmello and Travis Scott and everything that's gone on in Fortnite, what do you think about that world and where that's going?
I think it's amazing. I think Fortnite. People want to say that it's fallen off, or they lost touch with their user, whatever it is that they want to say. But what they did, not just once but twice. One was incredibly innovative, and then 2, the Travis thing felt like it just completely revitalized the brand. And then what Fortnite's doing with the party hub, they're just turning themselves into somewhere that it's not even, you don't even need to be a gamer. You can just go and hang out with your friends and talk and listen to music. And so, gaming and music, traditionally on their own have been, just 2 of the most consumed forms of entertainment. So when you merge them, and I can go from playing a game to just having a concert right in front of me, it's it just changes it completely. So I was just fascinated when they did that. I was there for two of the days for the Travis concert, and yeah, I think it's just a perfect example of what can happen when you merge those 2 worlds.
Yeah, man, and I probably shouldn't even bring it up because I don't actually have the company, but somebody just released a product actually through a game as well. So
really?
so it's not just music, it's actually a product. And I don't know if it was a sneaker brand, I can't remember who it was, but you're seeing gaming, especially gaming and esports in the content side, starting to become a medium that's used for music releases, product releases. It's incredible, man.
Yeah, it's where the eyeballs are for sure.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome. I really appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure we're going to, like you said, cross paths again very, very soon. But I really appreciate it, man.
Cool. No, thanks for having me. This was awesome.
All right, man.
Appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
Take it easy.
All right.
Ciao.
Bye.
I'd like to thank Matt for sharing his time, experience, and knowledge with us today. It was awesome talking to a fellow podcaster. I couldn't help but think about Entourage and Ballers after he and I finished our conversation. The stuff he is doing is edgy, trend-setting, and super cool, or dope, as super cool people can get away with saying. The projects he and his team are working on now are the things we will all be consuming tomorrow. They've got it. You can listen to Matt again now, and you can also find timestamped segments of the show, links to his social pages, and more information about his company, projects, and media in the show notes. If you enjoyed our discussion, please let us know. Continue the conversation with me across all social platforms and become a part of the Ultimate Gamer community today by subscribing at ultimategamer.com. We release a new show every day of the week, Monday through Friday, so be the first to join us for some outstanding upcoming guests and or dive back into the library of previous Level Up pods to hear from some of the most brilliant minds in the space. Experts like TV, anchor, host, and producer Aaron Ashley Simon, CEO of Skillshot Media and chairman of the Atlanta Esports Alliance, Todd Harris, and co-founder of MKM Group and president of Rumble Gaming, Evan Cubis, just to name a few. You can find all of these episodes and more on the Ultimate Gamer website, on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your pods. And finally, please like, rate, and review the show. It helps us reach the gaming community to spread the word and share the wisdom of our guests, as well as some of the most thought-provoking stories in the industry. Shout out, as always, to the Ultimate Gamer. I look forward to being with you on the next Level Up Podcast.